Hey everyone, welcome to the Promethean Tides. This is the midweek show. Hey, welcome. I am General, and as always, I'm joined by Breaker. What's going on, Breaker?
Yay! Biden is the best president for America. Yay, Biden.
Fuck yeah, he is. We here at the Promethean Tides, we big fans of Biden. One of the greatest presidents to ever live, and of course that's because he has so many years of experience. He can really bring a lot of wisdom to the table with all of those many years that he spent in government.
And also, he's a perfect politician because in those many decades he's been in government, most of that was corrupt backdoor dealings. And you know what? If you sit down and pragmatically think about it, that's actually the perfect archetypal president for America is a corrupt neoliberal.
That is true. Yeah, if you are listening to this, remember to like and subscribe. We would very much appreciate it. And with that, we can get into some of the news stories that have occurred. So, speaking of Biden, it appears as though he has almost fully recovered from COVID. So, thank God.
I don't know. Did he have COVID cancer, monkeypockery, or what? What he actually had COVID. That's the official line that the Politburo is going with now,
Yeah. So the doctor has said that the symptoms from the COVID-19 have now almost completely resolved. That was Doctor Kevin O'Connor. Um,
Yeah, I remember I got this like weekend at Bernie's vibe when the doctor was sitting there. It's like, the president ate all of his eggs and bacon at breakfast. I was there sitting with the president. I watched him eat it, and he cleaned his plate like a trooper. It's like a juvenile like weekend at Bernie's gag. It's like where the guys are just picking up the spoons of soup and food and shoving it at the corpse's mouth and say, "Yeah, he's totally eating. See, he's a picture of health."
uh, yeah. So as I said on the previous show on Saturday, if Biden was able to successfully recover from COVID, and he can do it, then I think that the entire disease, it's done. Americans don't have to worry about it. We're good. So that is. I just wanted to have that update. I'm glad that he recovered from COVID. Mostly because it just shows that COVID is not a big deal for about 99% of Americans, and we can move past this fucking awful 2 years of government authoritarianism and bullshit policy decision making. So
See, it's not even like we were talking about before we started the show. This is why I don't like modern authoritarians. Because, okay, think of the optics of this. What they're trying to do is convince you that COVID is basically bubonic plague 2.0. It's like it's the worst disease ever, which we here at the Promethean Times basically agree that COVID is the worst disease that humanity has seen in its 4 million year evolutionary journey. Like, this is the
yes.
absolute worst. But that being said, they say that, and then they're like, "Oh, if you're elderly and have comorbidities, like I don't know, if you have an aneurysm a few years ago, and if you have other various comorbidities, and you can barely walk and remember simple sentences and read the end of the teleprompter, you're at most at risk for COVID, and you're basically at 99.9% sure you're gonna frickin' die at this level." And then Biden gets over COVID, and then they say it's like, well, you see, Biden had all of the vaccines that were administered to him totally legitimately. You know what, on national television when you can zoom in on your iPad and see that the plunger is not being pushed and that the cap is still on the hypodermic needle, and you could just see this by zooming in. But he totally got the vaccine on television. I was like, see, like they can't even get. Why couldn't they have just got fucking sugar water and gave them a shot of fucking sugar water? At least then you could see a needle going in and something being injected. But they say, I don't like needles. I don't like being pricked. Is that
I mean,
okay? We'll just pretend to inject you. Fuck it. No one cares.
two things. Number one, I don't think that they would have injected sugar water. I think that they probably would have injected a saline solution. Number two, you know what? If Biden doesn't like shots, I don't blame him. I actually have myself kind of a phobia of needles, and totally understandable. If that conspiracy theory is true, and it was a fake shot, but we here we do not entertain conspiracy theories whatsoever at any time. Okay, so yeah, so there's that. Biden is better. Speaking of pandemics, we also have the monkey case, the monkeypox cases.
Don't worry, everybody. I'm wearing my pride flag diaper anti-monkeypox anal shield, so I'll be perfectly fine. This is one member of the LGBTQ community that's going to survive. Yay! Diversity. Come on, man. You know the thing.
Right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, as you're attending your third massive orgy of the week, where you will have had sexual encounters with more than a dozen men during each of those orgies. I hope that you're staying safe. We're just absolutely.
Well, you see, there's your first mistake, bigot, because I'm more attracted to trans women that are totally women, so it's actually perfectly heterosexual orgies.
Right, yeah. So yeah, apparently the number of cases, documented cases has grown to 16,000 throughout the world, 3,000 identified within the United States. Yeah, that's a thing. It's happening. And for the most part, this is something that affects men that have sex with men. This seems to be something that is largely spread through anal sex because, well, I actually I don't know that much about it, but it seems a little bit like the way that AIDS is spread. You have to have exposure between mucous membranes. I've been seeing in some of the news reports that it's spread through quote unquote intimate contact, and what they mean by that is not hugging or something, not platonic intimate contact. Rough anal sex is basically how it's spread, and that's because you have contact between some mucous membranes, but also you have a higher likelihood that there will be some sort of a tearing, an exposed wound, because that's just how anal sex works. So yeah. So that's a thing that is happening, and really, we should be thinking about the children. Are the children at risk?
I would say if anyone is at risk from constant anal tearing, it would most definitely be children, especially in the presence of homosexual men.
Well, yes, technically true. So I think it was there was
we can't use the G word anymore. So instead, let's call them what they really are, just predators. The P word, the other P word.
So here's the interesting thing, right? I think that there's been 2 documented cases of children in the United States with monkeypox. And if I remember correctly, both of those children were actually, I guess, they had some sort of guardian or something who happened to be a man who has sex with other men. So I don't know what to make of that. That's just the reporting that I heard.
Well, it clearly sounds like alt-right homophobic conspiracy theories, and I am sure that it was nothing like any untoward activities occurring between the LGBTQ parent and the child.
And yep, I'm sure that everything was above board there. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, so monkeypox continues to spread. I believe that so we have about 3,000 cases in the U.S. The United States has actually ordered 300,000 doses of vaccine. So that's enough for 1 in every 10 people in America to get a vaccine. So
Hey, more vaccines. Those will definitely save us. If there's anything we needed, it was more vaccines. Like, the totally 100% safe and effective vaccines that are basically panaceas. And if you take them, you'll live forever.
well, as far as I know, these vaccines are not based off of the mRNA technology that many of the COVID vaccines were based off of. So, I am they're probably totally fine. But yeah, I don't know why it is that we need so many vaccines. I mean, there's only 3,000 cases in America. I mean, maybe it'll get worse, right? But it seems as though it's specifically spreading within the gay male community, and it's probably going to mostly remain there. And it's not just like, oh, you happen to be gay, ergo you just get it because God hates you. It's that, oh, you've had a lot of penises in your asshole. I mean, just a metric fuck ton. There's been 47 penises in your asshole this week. Like, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's the monkeypox thing.
Well, that all sounds perfectly fine. That's an alternative lifestyle. I don't know why you seem to have this negative tone in your voice when discussing it. It's almost as though you hate me and want me to die in some horrible way. I'm scared.
That's right. Yeah. Jeez. They couldn't, like, if they, during COVID, it was a very super duper, the most dangerous disease that has ever afflicted mankind, as Breaker was saying earlier. And so, you had to wear a mask at all times. There was a mandate for the vaccine. If you didn't get the vaccine, there was a likelihood that you would get fired. Lots of things were done to protect our civilization from the horrors of the COVID. And
as well they should have been.
As well they should have been. But then when it comes to the monkeypox, well, come on. You want the men who have sex with other men to just stop their orgies for what, like a month? No, unacceptable. That's an abridgment of American freedoms. We will not have that. Because you'll notice that there's not a single Democratic politician who has come out and said, hey, guys, just stop railing each other for like a couple months maybe. No one's come out and said that at all, because look, there's certain lines that you don't cross, okay? And the most important freedom in America, it's actually the half amendment, right? It's like it comes before the first. It's like the 1/2 amendment. That's how important it is. It's the right to fuck other men in the ass. So I just brilliant. I love the story, and you know what? We will keep following this story as it progresses from week to week, because it's just so important.
I agree. This is truly a very important story. And it just goes to show that, LGBTQ lifestyles are perfectly healthy if it wasn't for these random, questionably origin pandemics that just, randomly, naturally happen of their own accord. Like the elites were warning us about like Bill Gates has been warning us for decades. We should have listened to him.
We always should have listened to Bill Gates. So, moving on from illnesses, we have as the next story, the Senate has passed a piece of legislation aimed at reducing our reliance on China for our semiconductors, and this, I believe, is actually kind of based. We need to bring manufacturing back into the country. Semiconductors are just insanely important for literally everything. Cars, phones, computers, fucking refrigerators, toasters. Everything nowadays uses some sort of microchip. And we absolutely should be. If there's for the most part, I don't like the government, but if the government can do something like relatively decent and not retarded, then yeah, let's bring manufacturing back to America. Let's make ourselves less dependent on our foreign adversaries.
Mm. Weirdly enough, this might cause like a strange economic boom, because as the dollar collapses and we bring back all the industries domestically, that means that the world is going to be able to buy our exports in dollars, which aren't going to be worth that much. So the whole world is going to be living in luxury.
Yeah. This was a bipartisan bill. It passed 64 to 33 in the Senate. I'm assuming that it'll be up to Biden to sign it, and I mean, he's a brilliant man, so I'm hoping that he signs off on it. And it'll provide $54 billion in grants for semiconductor manufacturing and research.
Don't worry. All you need to do is just sit it down in front of him and tell him that it's the cashier's check for his son's kilo of cocaine.
54 billion. Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, yeah, I'll sign it.
Yeah, that's right. That's a light day for Hunter. He usually smokes at least $1 trillion.
Hunter Biden is going through billions of dollars of crack just every week. Like, yeah, okay.
I guess the immortality elixir really did work, because damn.
Damn would be right. I'm trying to imagine just like how big would a $54 billion crack rock be?
It's basically an asteroid. That's what the space program is really for. It's just mining the asteroid for Hunter Biden's crack.
Right? Like I'm trying. Like that would I think that might be the size of like a small ship. But anyway, so this bill, it would provide $54 billion in grants for semiconductor manufacturing and research, tens of billions to support regional technology hubs, and a tax credit covering 25% of investments in semiconductor manufacturing through 2026. So this actually is good. So the United States has been largely dependent on Asia for a lot of its semiconductors. Most of those come out of Taiwan, but this is excellent. This is exactly the sort of thing that America should be doing, in my perspective.
Yeah, consider what you just said very carefully, though, and what the ultimate motivations behind this type of bill really are when you stop to think about it. Because, okay, America trying to get away from Taiwanese manufactured superconductors might just be the early rumblings of America throwing up its hands when the Chinese inevitably make their power move on Taiwan, and America's just gonna be like, we kind of screwed up in Afghanistan, so we can't afford it this time. Good luck, Taiwan. We're making our own shit now. Bye.
That is true. Yeah, this may not be the best signal for Taiwan, but at the end of the day, you gotta secure your own oxygen mask before securing it for others. So we gotta look out for ourselves. We gotta make sure that we can create our own semiconductors. It's important, and maybe we shouldn't be just highly dependent on a tiny island nation right off the coast of our greatest world adversary. Maybe, in terms of like geopolitical strategy, that's maybe not the best of tactics. So I'm glad that this is happening.
I agree with that.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and so the let's see. So there's that. Also, let's see. Russia has announced they're going to quit the International Space Station. They're not going to be space buddies with America anymore.
So either one of three things: either just like we're going to make a deal with Elon Musk and just get our own shit, and screw you guys, we're going home, back to the cosmonaut program. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that, and the most likely one, in my opinion, is that Russia is really busy with like global diplomacy, especially in the Eastern world, shaking all the right hands and setting up all the right deals for the inevitable multipolar world that is quickly coming down the pipe as Russia takes land in Ukraine and reopens the trade routes to the Black Sea and the Danube river system. And they're just like, space is not a priority right now. We have real world shit on Earth to worry about. That's probably the most likely reason for this.
Well, it very well could be. But the Russians did say that they would be making moves to build their own space station. So
yeah, exactly. We're going back to cosmonaut program. We said Yuri Gagarin back into space. He has been preserved like body of linen. He will be fine.
I think that to a certain extent, I kind of think that this might be a good thing. Because here's the thing, right? We've been doing this joint venture with the Chinese and the Russians to do the International Space Station. And it's cool or whatever, but you'll notice that when was the last time that we went to the moon? For those of you who believe that we did go to the moon, when was the last time that we actually went to the moon? It's been Jesus, how long has it been?
60 years.
Yeah. Now, see, I think that we need to introduce international competition back into the space race. We've been holding hands and singing Kumbaya for way too long, and look where it's gotten us. We have a small station in space, and that's it. We haven't been back to the moon. I think that Russia should do its own space program, China should do its own space program, and if there is legitimate competition, then I think America will actually get off its ass and put a fucking base on the moon, and maybe even, I don't know, try to make it to Mars. So, fuck yeah. Fuck using space as a glorified version of the Olympics, where we try to do global hand holding. Fuck that shit. Competition.
Technically, the Olympics analogy would more have you believe. Well, I guess with what the Olympics have become nowadays, you're probably closer to reality. My mistake for thinking that meritocracy and competition in sports was still a thing. But anyway, yeah, I think I mostly agree with that. And also, there's like private sector competition for the space race on the horizon in a way that has not been possible until recently with the Elon Musk rockets. So, like, private billionaires / trillionaires are going to start doing this with their own money that's not controlled by a world government. And I'm just like, hey, I've got like $10 billion laying around. You want to build a rocket and see if we can go to the moon? And then Grimes is on the corner, like, playing freaking synthesizers, like, yeah, that sounds great, honey. I'm really busy figuring out this generative patch.
So here's the thing, man. Like I grew up reading sci-fi. I absolutely like loved all the sci-fi books. I still read sci-fi to this day. It's my favorite genre. And it's 2022, people. Why don't we have a moon base? Like, imagine living in the 60s and thinking about the 2020s. You'd be like, oh yeah, they're gonna have like a whole fucking moon city by then. Like, yeah, fuck yeah. And we don't. And it's been disappointing. It would be like us imagining what the world will be like in 2080, and it turns out that they like, okay, we have phones now, but great. Like I don't know what the world is gonna be like in 2080, but I hope that it's not basically exactly the same shit as today, except for they've fully rolled out the metaverse and everyone is just like living their lives in VR. Like, I want us to become a spacefaring civilization. I think that would just be really cool. So it's something that I want and something that I will advocate for. So, you know what? Russia leaving the ISS, maybe it actually is going to turn out to be a good thing.
Insofar as like visions of the future are concerned, I always thought the most accurate one was the cyberpunk future. But in a weird type of way, it's become the most accurate in a way that wasn't entirely expected. Because now technically everyone has been a form of the cyberpunk for the last roughly 20 years because of online gaming. So technically, everyone is like the characters from Cyberpunk, but those characters don't actually exist in the meat world. They're just Matrix avatars in the digital realm with people behind them.
Yeah. Well, I think that as our world becomes always braver and newer, maybe we will actually get to the cyberpunk dystopia. I would kind of be looking forward to that.
I mean, at this point, I think that would be best.
Fuck yeah. Okay. So let's see. Biden has also sold 20 million barrels of oil on the open market, mostly to Europe and Asia. I think a couple weeks ago, he basically kind of gave away 5 million barrels from the our strategic petroleum reserve, and now he's sold another 20 million. Now this reserve, it's not infinite by any extent of the imagination, and we are burning through it very, very quickly. They've been taking out about 1 million barrels per day, which is basically the maximum that you can take out of the reserve, because you can't just extract it all at once. So
Or
Uh,
can you?
well,
Biden will soon find out. Tune in next week to see just how much oil Biden can piss out of his catheter.
oh Jesus. Yeah. So, uh, this is this is bad news. I think for the most part, the a lot of this could have been prevented if Biden had not shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, if he had not prevented lands from being fracked. The fact of the matter is that during this entire time where oil has been at $5 a gallon, we could have prevented this shit. We really could have. America could be energy independent right now. Right now, we would not be facing such high prices at the gas stations if Biden had simply not done his insane policies, policies that are reminiscent of of what Germany has been doing, where they decided that they didn't want to use nuclear power, and they didn't want to use any. They wanted to stop using oil. Then it turns out that they forgot about the whole thing where their country needs electricity. Silly thing to forget. But they forgot about that, and now they're digging one of the largest pits known to man in order to dig up brown coal so that they can burn that. And by the way, brown coal is the lowest grade of coal. It's the least efficient. It releases the most amount of pollutants into the air, the most amount of CO2, if that's something that you care about. So, in their effort to be just super fucking green friendly, they've turned into one of the least green countries in terms of their energy production, and then now they're at the will and behest of Russia, because Russia was the one who was supplying them with their energy, and oops, oh no, now they're suffering. So yeah, all of this is to say that oh boy, sometimes leadership is just top notch. Sometimes we just get the fucking best leaders.
So basically, the EU countries have turned into literal Captain Planet villains.
Actually, yes. In their, you know what? Here's the thing: the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They wanted to become Captain Planet, but instead they lived long enough to see themselves become the villain.
It's literally art, life imitating art. What you just said is literally what has happened in this case. They've turned into like that smog monster from fucking Fern Gully or some shit that was just sucking on the exhaust pipes of the machinery.
Right. Yeah. So just another example of Germany kind of sucking. To be fair, America's sucking as well. I cannot wait until we can go back to using the Keystone XL pipeline, and we can do some more fracking. And you know what? That's not me saying that I'm opposed to solar or wind power. We can build that to help supplement our energy needs. Totally fine. But at the end of the day, we have to be realistic, and we have to understand that we are nowhere close to being able to supply America's energy needs with just windmills and solar farms. We're nowhere close to that. We have to use, for the time being, a lot of oil to generate our power needs. And by the way, I believe that really, if we wanted to become green and generate a shit ton of power, we should really be using nuclear. it's I don't know when the last time a nuclear power plant was built in America, but I believe it's been a while. These are things that I believe that we really should be pursuing, but there you have it. Yeah, so
Someone needs to make this meme. Like, I'm thinking like Captain Planet now. Like, the Planeteers summon Captain Planet, but it's Greta Thunberg. And then she has to fight against all the villains, which turn out to be all the EU country leaders. Meanwhile, Gaia is actually Vladimir Putin smiling and smugly chuckling off on the side.
right, she's fighting all these monsters, and then she rips off. Yeah, that's her catchphrase. How dare you? And she rips off the mask of one of the monsters, and it was actually Germany all along. It's one of those
It was fucking Herr Merkel, yeah.
Yeah.
And Hoggish Greedley would be Jean-Claude Juncker or something from the EU.
So let's see. In addition to that, so Trump actually came out and he made a speech. This man is 100% running for president. He hasn't announced officially, but I would bet any amount of money that he will be running. He came out and
Again, you're gonna love it, believe me.
I will love it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And so he came out and he made a speech, and have some quotes here. So he said, "We need an all-out effort to defeat violent crime in America, and strongly defeat it, and be tough, and be nasty, and be mean if we have to." He said, "Our country is now a cesspool of crime. We have blood, death, and suffering on a scale once unthinkable because of the Democrat Party's effort to destroy and dismantle law enforcement all throughout America." Based.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing so far.
He said that maybe we could move homeless people out of cities. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, put them in special. There used to be a word for this, but it slips my mind. Like a special location for certain people that you want to move in mass from one location to another location. There's a name for that. Maybe someone in the comments remembers what the name for that is, but it slipped my mind.
So yeah, he wants to kick all the homeless people out of big cities, put them into inexpensive parcels of land in the outer reaches of the cities. So I guess that would be the suburbs. Yeah, kick them out to the suburbs. Fuck yeah. Let's see, and he wants to impose the death penalty on convicted drug dealers, and reinstate stop and frisk policies. So here's the thing, for the most part, okay, all right, sounds all right. Death penalty for convicted drug dealers, though. That one I'm not such a big fan of. See, I'm kind of a libertarian, and I mean, quite frankly, I don't have such a big issue with certain drugs. I think that pot should probably be legal. I believe that psilocybin mushrooms should be legal. I think LSD should be legal. I think that DMT should be legal. I think that probably let me think. Molly, that should be legal. So basically all the psychedelics, I believe that those should be legal, and it is within the realm of possibility that from time to time I have partook in all of those substances. So
I do not endorse the usage of illicit substances on the public space.
Yes, it is merely a it is conjecture. It is a mere possibility that I have engaged in all of the above substances at some point in my life. But personally speaking, if I were to have a drug dealer, I wouldn't want him to go to prison or get the death penalty. Like, I don't want any of that. I think that a lot of these drugs, just as a policy position, should be legal. So I'm not sure that I can 100% agree with Trump on that one. Of course, he's probably kind of being a little bit hyperbolic on what he's saying, but for those particular drugs, I don't think that they're that big of an issue. Now, if you're talking
This is
about
like classic Trump. It's art of the deal shit. He starts out with something that's like cranked up to 200%, but then what he actually ends up negotiating down is like between 60 to 80%.
right, and also I have a suspicion that Trump isn't talking about magic mushrooms. He's probably talking about like fentanyl and
And he's
meth.
not talking about like your local Rastafarian man with dreadlocks and mirrored sunglasses that occasionally partakes in a bit of the herbal remedy and maybe sells some on the side. He's probably more talking about the type of people who get people hooked on drugs that turn them into human wrecking balls and juggernauts of violence.
Yeah. I understand that something like a fentanyl or a methamphetamine can actually be
Crack. I need some crack.
right.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you've
Well,
ever seen Crackhead Strength, but you'd be surprised how much like a motherfucker that looks like Skeletor, like when they're in full crackhead mode, can flip a fucking car.
yeah, but here's the thing, right? If Trump comes out against crack, don't you think that's he's being kind of personal? I mean, think about how that's going to affect Joe Biden's son. I mean, come on, we can't be getting rid of that. But yeah, I guess that with some of these drugs, they do seem to cause quite a bit of harm. We know that there has been a massive opioid epidemic that has just been quite a terrible thing for America. It's been going on for years, and I understand the want to get some of this under control. In fact, I believe that a decent amount of this fentanyl has actually been coming in from China, and you know what? It might be a very old vendetta that China is doing against America, because the thing is that America used to put a shit ton of opium into China, got all their people addicted, until they had to crack down on that. There's like the idea of like the Chinese opium den, right? Well, that was the result of America putting a shit ton of opium into China, in part so that the U.S. could better exploit some of their resources and their economics. So, if there is fentanyl coming in from China, then well, it kind of seems like a more than 100-year-old vendetta that they have against us, and kind of prickish, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, yeah, we probably do need to crack down on fentanyl. I think that's fair.
So basically, he wants to install Chinese-style drug policy, which is, basically, if you're caught with any type of even herbal substances, it's basically a death sentence in China to this day. That was mostly like Maoist policy, if I remember correctly, in the cracking down the opium dens. By the way, that's also where the old like turn of phrase and figure of speech, that person should be drug out into the road and shot, comes from, because Mao literally sent fucking death squads into the opium dens, and there's video footage of this you can find on YouTube. It's all in black and white, old silent video, and they literally drug them out into the street and shot them.
Isn't China just so fucking nice? Great place to live. But yeah,
Yeah, now they have robot dogs do all of that. It's basically like Ghost in the Shell, callback level technology where a robot dog just like struts up to you arrogantly with a pistol in its mouth and starts speaking in very angry Chinese.
So I think that actually, if we want to deal with this situation, I think that if Trump wants to adequately deal with this situation, I think that he has to go after the pharmaceutical companies themselves. Because a lot of the times, Americans will be prescribed some sort of pill by a doctor. It's an opiate, and uh, these Americans that previously didn't really have much of an association with drugs, they get addicted to the opiates because, well, it turns out that opiates are actually quite addictive. So, and then they kind of they have to look for opiates wherever they can find it, and sometimes they eventually land on fentanyl, which can be extremely deadly, especially if you don't have any sort of tolerance for it. So I think that actually, really, Trump should be his first policy should be cracking down on the pharmaceutical companies themselves that are just giving opiates to millions of Americans, just completely legally.
Yeah, the opioid crisis turned out to be a very big deal that did cause a lot of strife. But another thing that gets talked about less often is the fucking SSRI antidepressant shit. How much fucking brain chemistry of how many millions of members of the voting public has been in some cases irrevocably altered to the point where those are basically synthetic chemical medicalized people with medicalized synthetic opinions because their brains have literally been altered by foreign substances, and this is millions of people in America alone.
Yeah. See, I think that actually that is very insidious. I have never once in my life, I think, taken anything prescribed by a doctor except for like some antibiotics when I was a kid. I don't think I've ever taken a prescription medication of any sort. Uh, and for the most part, I don't think I would ever want to. If you have a problem, just self medicate with alcohol, man. That's the that's the tried and true method. Uh, that's something that humans have been doing for since time immemorial. We know that shit works. So yeah.
We do not endorse addictive behaviors on the public space.
No, we do not. But yeah, so for the most part, I'm okay with bringing back some stop and frisk policies. I'm okay with maybe cracking down on crime. I think that since a lot of these police departments have been defunded, yeah, you have seen an increase in crime. And the fact of the matter is that in this nation, we have to have rule of law. You have to have you have to be able to defend your property, and the decision of the Democrats to defund the police while disarming the populace, that is just a perfect way to incentivize crimes happening. And yeah, something probably has to be done about this. So I think that what Trump is saying makes total sense. Not sure about death penalty for drug dealers. I know that he's probably talking about like the big like kingpins or whatever, but I can't really get behind that one. But it's like I can agree with Trump on maybe like 75% of the stuff he says, and for the most part, that's good enough for me. Because like with Biden, I can't remember the last time I agreed with him on fucking anything he said.
Pretty much.
Okay, well, those are the the stories that I was able to find for this midweek show. I we'll see if anything big happens in the second half of the week, and hopefully we'll have something to some news things to talk about on Saturday. If not, we'll just have to do some more philosophical discussions. Absolutely. But let's see. Breaker.
I would encourage people. One thing I was going to bring up is I would encourage people to look into Biden's most recent polling numbers. Apparently, 90% of under 25 Democratic voters in America basically hate Biden's guts, and that tells you a lot. In that, specifically because it's the under 25 demographic. They don't. They probably weren't of voting age during the Obama years, and like the neoliberal Democrat base, they're looking at Joe Biden and just seeing, like, in their mind they just see an extension of Obama, but now it's Biden instead.
Thanks, Biden.
There you go. Like, double thanks. Like, this is like, the country is so great right now. I don't know what to do with myself. It's almost as though what Trump always used to say has actually come true right now. You're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. Well, if this is what winning looks like, yes, I am very tired of it. But that notwithstanding, it's like, we're going to build back better. But anyway, yeah. I mean, if the under 25 Democrat voting bloc, 90% of them hate Joe Biden. What do you think? What are the Democrats going to run for just for the under 25 Democratic base if 90% of them hate Joe Biden? What are they going to do? Are they going to run another neoliberal, crony capitalist, corporate, corrupt shill, but this time without Alzheimer's, where they say the quiet part's a little bit quieter and the loud part's a little bit louder to rebalance the fucking scale of corrupt crap? I think after this much mask-off, crony capitalist, neoliberal horseshit, the fucking Democratic voting base is gonna be like, anything but this. I'll vote for fucking donkey face Cortez at this point because it's just different. I'm tired of suit and tie old white man.
Oh God, yeah. I don't know who the Democrats would run instead of Biden, but I'm starting to think that actually AOC might be one of their stronger plays, and I mean, oh God.
I guess that is perfect for America, isn't it?
She's a woman and she's vaguely ethnic, so that is precisely what we need right now.
And like her general intelligence and the type of gaffes that she's been known to make surprisingly often. You know what? That also fits the current American zeitgeist, because most Americans are just kind of like dumb, soulless fucking shills on autopilot, blurting out like half-constructed sentences with attention spans of 15 seconds or less. So it really is perfect for America when you really stop to think about it.
Oh my God, yeah. She's the TikTok candidate. It's like, yep. She is the. I think that she is the candidate that looks best on TikTok, and yeah, I could.
It's literally President Camacho from Idiocracy.
Yeah, a little bit. But
a female version with bigger teeth.
Yeah. I actually don't know which would be worse, a Biden or an AOC, because they would have different policies, but the policies of AOC would be so I guess th- they would be idealistic, but they would be they would be so counter to reality that they would sound really nice and they would fall apart in within 6 months, but they would sound really nice. And to be fair, I think that she can deliver probably a better speech than Biden can, and make things sound better than Biden can. So I could actually see her potentially doing more damage. She would get in there and try to do her Green New Deal bullshit and completely wreck the American economy. Perhaps even worse than what Biden has done. But I mean, god damn it, she would put a smiling face on that shit, and I think that there's a lot of Americans, especially associated with the Democratic Party, that would just eat it up. So, yeah, there's that. I think that we should try to avoid that. Oh my god, that sounds awful.
Well, from my perspective, that sounds perfect for America. We're like peak clown world now. It's like AOC is like the left wing clown world candidate, and Donald Trump is the right wing clown world. Now, instead of two bowls of shit with a different smell, you have two different clowns with different color face paint.
That's true. Yeah. Orange face paint versus
Mildly ethnic face paint.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And if Justin Trudeau is anything to measure by, apparently that's a fad now. It's totally in.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, well, Justin Trudeau. He's a man who knows his face paint.
One might say he's like very like expert with a bottle of shoe polish.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks like from how the it looks from the polling data, how the numbers are looking. Uh, the It does not look very good for the Democrats, and I'm not sure. Of course, they will try to fortify the election, but
as you should,
as yeah, just standard policy, always fortify. But I'm not sure if they will be able to fortify the election enough in order to properly defend themselves from the rising tide of hatred and bigotry that the red wave will be bringing. So yeah, that's I think that honestly, I'm potentially hopeful about a lot of this, and I just hope that between I hope that we have like 2.5 years until we inevitably get Trump in. I'm hoping that that the elections for the House and the Senate they curb some of the more disastrous policy making decisions that that Biden has made and will continue to make. I don't think that we can fucking survive another 2 years of this just utter bullshit. Our economy is in ruins on every single front. We're facing inflation. In fact, worse than that, stagflation. I mean, it's all gone to shit really quick. It's surprising. We had, whether you like Trump or you hate Trump, the fact of the matter was that we had a roaring economy. It was doing incredibly well, and it is amazing to me just how rapidly the Democrats were able to get into power and just fuck everything up. I think that it's almost as though they must be trying to do it, because how could you fuck things up so quickly on accident? Like it almost seems like it's a purpose-driven mission to just tank America and make its citizens poorer and hungrier and not able to afford gasoline. I mean, it's amazing to me that they've been able to do this in such a short period of time. I mean, they had such a short window to make everything fall to shit, and fucking A, they did it. You know what? Maybe the Democrats aren't stupid. Maybe they're actually brilliant, but they're evil. They're like supervillains. They're like, ha ha ha, here's my plan. It's actually a genius plan, and we can wreck America in under a year. Let's get it done. So yeah, I don't want any more of that.
I think from my perspective, I think they're evil, but they're also human at the same time. Like, no one thought Trump would actually get in. And when he did, that literally sent them into, like, 200% with the knob broken off survival mode. And all the fucking masks simultaneously fell off, and you just got to see all the quiet, stewing, seething evil explode from their mouths and asses like geysers of fucking diarrhea everywhere. They were always full of shit, but you just got to see the shit this time.
I should say the masks did fall off as they were demanding that you put your mask on.
Strange how that works. Maybe that's why they told everyone to put the mask on. It was like a bit of a Freudian slip, where they were like, "We've got to put these masks back on." Like, what was that? Tell everyone to put on masks. Like, God damn it! I wasn't talking. Oh, fuck it.
Yeah, and actually, the Democrats they're continuing to make a similar mistake as they made back in 2016, right? Because the Hillary Clinton campaign actually put money into the Trump campaign because they thought that Trump was the most extreme, the most evil, the most crazy Republican candidate. And so they put money into the Trump campaign because they thought that he would be the easiest to beat. Unfortunately for them, that play didn't entirely work out. And now they're making actually the exact same mistake. So in Maryland, they had an election, I believe, is on July 19th. And so they held the primaries, and it was Cox, COX, who was the one that Trump endorsed to run for governor, and the Democrats are actually putting money into his campaign, and then he ended up winning the primary. Now, I'm not saying that he will actually be able to take the governorship in Maryland. Maryland is incredibly blue, so it's unlikely. But it's one of those things where, Jesus Christ, the Democrats are out of touch. They should not be giving, from their, I support it, but in their strategy, why would it make sense to give money to the Trump candidate? There is a massive wave of populism and kind of Trumpian politics that has swept the nation. It is very much here. It seems to have some staying power, and the Democrats want to fund that. They want to find the candidate that Trump endorsed and give him money. I mean, from their perspective, they're like, ha ha ha. These Trump people, they're so evil. No one could possibly vote for them. We'll give them money so that we can, run against the Trump guy, because they'll be the easiest to defeat. Everyone will see how evil the guy that Trump endorsed is. But they're out of touch. Fundamentally, people like what Trump has to say. They like these things. By the way, DeSantis is an individual who is basically a Trump kind of politician. He has a lot of the same ideas. That's why I like DeSantis. I prefer Trump, by the way, but that's why I like DeSantis. These are all kind of this populist, kind of libertarian movement that has been growing on the right. Uh, I can't believe that the Democrats are actually funding this. And by the way, they are actually doing the same thing in Michigan. It just came out that that in the Michigan primaries they were doing the exact same thing, funding the fucking the Trump endorsed politician. Like, what the hell are the Democrats doing here? It like from a strategic perspective, they've got to be so out of touch. Like, holy shit.
Uh, you know what? This reminds me of something else as well. Basically, the number one way to know that you're dealing with a tyrant is when they shoot the jester. You ever notice
Uh,
how the Democrats suddenly hate fucking memes and comedy now, and all the comedy has become this hyper sterilized, like dry proselytizing crap?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this kind of goes in with what you were talking about. It's like the type of tyrant that suffers no criticism and no jesting and no memes in this case is also a very self-absorbed and conceited person that gets to the point where because they suffer so little criticism, they get this idea in their head that they can literally do no wrong. So you're starting to see it's like we'll fund the opposition because we're obviously so good that we can't possibly lose because they don't have any jester constantly poking them and pointing out all of their fucking faults. They're just like, ban that comedian, destroy that memes, Zuckerberg, censor the internet, remove that word. And then when everything looks nice and sterilized, like, well, no one is telling me that I'm wrong, so I must be right.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, there's a lot of people that are trying to poke the Democrats and make fun of them, and they what they've done is they've declared anyone that disagrees with them as being I don't know, a neo-Nazi or some shit like that, and they refuse to listen. They have inserted, and medically speaking, physiologically speaking, this is actually very difficult to do, and I would not recommend you try it at home. But they've actually managed to insert their own head directly into their rectum, and it's a marvelous thing that they were able to do that. I don't know if it's the best strategy. It does cut down on your sensory abilities, but god damn it, they did it.
Well, that's why they needed so much training for the constant rough anal sex that eventually led to the outbreak of monkeypox. Like,
Mm.
that was just training so that they could get the head inside of the anus.
That's exactly right. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up, Breaker?
Uh, you know what? With everything we've talked about so far, I think the only thing I have left to say is, come on, man, America.
Come on, man, America. Truly, words of wisdom. Okay, well, with that, I guess that will conclude the show. So thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you for getting all the way to the end of the episode. If you have any comments, be sure to leave them down below. And yeah, remember to like and subscribe to us. Like the videos, subscribe to us. It does help out massively. If you like what we're doing, if you like listening to the show, then yeah. And if you have a friend who you think might like the show, maybe you could share it. That is also an option. Anyway, with that, I have been General. So thank you very much for watching, and this has been Breaker.
Hey, every like and subscription is as a drop of liquid gold in the sea of our internet happy times and popularity contests with other YouTube peoples. Yay.
All right. Well, peace out, everyone.